The latest United Nations records put Uganda's population at 48.9 million people with a growth rate of 3.3% per year. A case in point is Kabale district. Although it is only 222 square miles in size, Kabale is home to more than 245,000 people. The district also has an influx of refugees from Rwanda. The pressure on land is not only leading to land fragmentation, soil degradation, food insecurity, but also land disputes and unplanned settlements.
Due to population pressure, development has gone ahead of planning. And that poses challenges. If you want to construct a road, you might find a road leading into somebody's homestead. If you want to construct a school, a person will say, this is my land. There is no guiding document to guide which development should be fixed here.
Only 10% of the land in the district is documented, while the rest is customarily owned, undocumented, and insecure. With absence of tenure security, land disputes, land grabs, unplanned use and settlements, as well as destruction of fragile ecosystems, are emerging.
Realizing that many of the smallholder farmers in Uganda did not own their land, and that led to insecurity, that could lead to conflict. So we started the project issuing the customary certificates of ownership so that they had land tenure security. And that meant that they could, for instance, go to a bank or a SACCO and get a loan and invest in their farm and increase their productivity. It also meant there were less conflicts between people who claim the same spot of land.
The project has helped us, first of all, to educate the public of the importance of land registration. That's number one. Because now collateral, some people will use these pieces of land to do registration. Land will be secured.
With support from Netherlands Enterprise Agency, partnered with Makerere University School of Built Environment, the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Kabale District Local Government and other stakeholders came in to secure tenure for smallholder farmers and promoted organized development on land. In Kabale, the project was dubbed Community-Based Land Registration and Land Use Planning on Customary Land. The project was implemented in Kitumba sub-county to map and secure land for the vulnerable like women, widows, children, people living with disabilities, and the poor, whose undocumented land often attracts land grabbers.
As Makerere University, we are very happy that we are actually seeing what we teach at the university being implemented in the field. We are looking at how can we use technology to reduce the cost of acquiring a certificate for your land. So under this fit-for-purpose land administration, we don't have to engage expensive procedures to solve our local problems. So you can imagine in these few months, we have managed to make close to 10,000 CCOs, which would take several years to generate.
The project kicked off in March 2022 using STDM, a fit-for-purpose land administration tool.
The land question is well known. In fact, many countries have developed land policies to address land issues. But many times the policies, they stay on paper. They are never implemented. So the network develops tools to help different governments and local governments, works also with civil society partners on how to address land issues and bring benefits of the different land policies that exist to the community.
The core mission of the project: secure customary land, solve available land conflicts, and carry out land use planning. Richard Byamjisha and his wife Precious Tumheire of Hamuganda village in Kitumba were one of the first people to embrace the project. The team ensured all their particulars were recorded, signed, and pictures taken before mapping their parcel of land in the presence of local leaders and neighbors.
Ubuzibu bubagamo ari ubw'umuntu aratahira nk'itaka ryawe ariteme ngwino waba utaripimisi baripimire abaripimire wakundi urabeta barebe ko baripimire itaka ryo umuntu yaritemera rishishira
nko mushihe yo kubarenda no kuteganisa renda kuriguza ari wenka ninga yenda kukubinga aratinye cyo kintu aho kwaramanya ngo niwo nacho rina wacapa kasara kuteganisa na chairman RC1 arabariho nawe wa mutorogo ujune arikara mugambira ko ubwo buyambi ko atarabasa no kukwara ico kibira we ari wenka ninga ngo guzaze kuzinywa.
At the end of the exercise, a map of the land is generated and captured in the system for further processing of the customary certificate of land ownership at the sub-county.
Titling has been too expensive. Freehold, too expensive. You will find a piece of land one is spending over 3-4 million, and it's a very small piece. But it is time they only pay for registration, which is registration and issuance, only 10,000 the title, and other costs are met by the project.
In the same village, 69-year Kedres Businje was also happy to see her name finally attached to her land. This land has been her only source of income and food ever since her husband's death years ago. She mainly plants sorghum, which she in turn sells to meet her family's needs. She says with the expected certificate, no one can claim her land save for her children.
Unahuriro ehurire yatandika nti mazima akabira kanje aina nkateze chishani bantere chishani bantere chapa na ningumenye ndeberi abanchine awurukiza ngwanye mu itaka ryanje ina kwanyina katavu kanje ni manyanguna kanje.
The project too looked out for orphans and people living with disabilities like Wilson Amkwasize. Wilson has been staying here after inheriting this land from his parents, but the takeover was not formally documented. The coming of this project to offer him a certificate of ownership left him happy and assured of his inheritance.
Sigize baruha na kuri yo government ngena bw'ikintu ndashemererwa tini umuntu wumfuma guza waje kumbanda nkaye muri vitaka tini yararabe.
After field mapping and registration, the Makerere University team retreats to Kitumba sub-county headquarters, where each and every applicant's file is scrutinized and all detail downloaded into a computer. A lot of care is taken and accuracy is of essence while handling the data. The leaders are hopeful that this exercise will offer a fertile ground for government's parish development model to take off. Alongside the mapping exercise, the project ensured all existing land wrangles between neighbors and within households are ironed out through alternative dispute resolution (ADR) mechanism. The mechanism emphasizes peace, unity, and reconciliation. Today, Agret Mwesije and Prudence Tumuhimbise from Bukola Kitumba are going through a mediation. Agre previously attempted to sideline his wife during the land registration. A row ensued before she dragged him to the mediation committee. The two were cancelled and Agre saw a point in a joint registration. After the mediation, the former warring factions signed an agreement.
Wabo yinitaka bishemere kubarire ryawe na family yawe, so naco ni kirungi kugira ngo yitaka umukazi na waragire iki ayino ubushoborozi kugira ngo mwena mube mugire iki muri hamwe hitakeriyo.
Abakazi nitwe twino bugaba hitaka ubwiro bwinji ekitubire tutari kumanya ningashi tutari kucenga, kandi ekindi cya kabiri ekinshemize no kushanga ngo hati nitwa abakaze nyuma tutucire twahuguka.
I think this exercise is good because it unites people, a husband and a wife, and it is cheaper.
In the last 6 months, over 30 cases of land wrangles were recorded and through mediation have been successfully resolved. Guided by the Makerere University, the Sub-County and District Physical Planning Committee, the project ensured communities participate in tenure-responsive land use planning, which ensures land size, ownership and location is ascertained during the mapping exercise. In the absence of Kabale Physical Planning Development Plan, the Physical Planning Department at the Ministry of Lands, Planning and Urban Development quickly developed a Rapid Physical Planning Appraisal (RAPA) to inform the mapping exercise. Several participatory community engagements were carried out in Kitumba with the aim of having a climate-smart physical plan that informs planned infrastructure and protection of fragile ecosystems in the area. During these sessions, locals' input as well as questions are considered key.
We've been able to interact with communities, of which they have picked interest in this whole physical development plan project. And I think most people didn't have knowledge about physical planning.
Abataka kuba rugo maranga cyabashemeza munongo. Karanga ibyo bintu bije bakayibashoborera ikiyamba munongo. Kai buri muntu agira ubwise ati nyensa kari buri ekikiryabaho kigire kitwatuyamba. Kawukutakatare kawukuta polisi ngawukugira ki nkuko batwegesa cyatuyamba munonga munongo.
So far, Kitumba Physical Plan is ready and will inform both local and central government's future projects as a point for development. A lot of awareness has been created and locals are now aware of the need to plan better as well as have customary certificates of land ownership to secure their land rights, land investment and food production while protecting the environment.
Everybody in the sub-county has participated to develop this vision, and so it provides a good basis for all the different government programs and development that will take place in the sub-county, and it will result into orderly and sustainable development within the coming years.
After 12 months of hard work, over 10,000 certificates were processed. By December 2022, 4,000 were ready for issuance. 10th December 2022 was the D-Day. It was all happiness as residents of Kitumba welcomed the Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, the Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, State Minister for Trade, David Bahati, as well as a cross-section of members of Parliament, local leaders and Kitumba residents at the certificate handover ceremony.
On behalf of the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, I take this opportunity to welcome you, Right Honourable Prime Minister, to Kabale, where the ministry is implementing a very important government program to register customary land and issue certificates of customary ownership to families and communities in Kigezi region. You are going to have a legal document for the first time of your piece of land. Global Land Tool Network, thank you very much for what you have done.
One by one, names of the beneficiaries were read out amidst jubilations.
Now that you have a big land title, please don't demarcate and fragment your land among your children. Abana temubasalasalira muttaka. Abana bakozesa ettaka nga lyonna lya family wamu.
More 6,000 certificates are yet to be distributed, and a total of 2,014 households will benefit.
Temereigwe amashemero ganago kunyita ecyapatira za kunyamba narya roni ndakitwara barebe hitaka ryanje nguzaka bampa kasete nyihuri.
We met one farmer together with his wife. The certificate was on both their names, and he invested in his company, in his farm. He had built now, he said, from a wooden house into a stone house. And he was using his money to invest further in other business as well. So you can see he's really growing and developing. That's a very good example, I think, of what you can achieve if you have this security.